Pull out your coats and sweaters, Denton temperatures are dropping. A COVID crisis in El Paso, no more hospital beds. And 9 days of food, fun, and competition at the North Texas Fair and Rodeo.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV Nightly News.
The weather is changing from summer heat to winter cold. Welcome to North Texas.
This is what we are seeing right here in Denton. More rain and colder temperatures are heading our way, but for people in the Abilene area, they could be seeing freezing rain. Thanks for joining us on ntTV Nightly News. I'm Alyssa Weens.
And I'm Andrew Fancher.
Well, Andrew, it's been pretty cold today, and quite honestly, I can barely believe those temperatures.
To make things worse, we even got some rain alongside this newfound cold weather. Any explanation for this, Blake?
Well, y'all, the strongest cold front of the year came in just today, and it's what you're going to blame for this abysmal weather we're feeling right now. Take a look at this. The warmest temperatures today were early this morning. The cold rain began, and while it wasn't heavy, it was enough to keep people on campus indoors and under cover. The rain wasn't hard enough to take down any of the leaves that are beginning to change color, and I don't expect it will be cold enough to do any damage to them tonight. And enough of that, now let's go to the current look at the weather. Right now you're going to be feeling weather at 42, but what you're going to actually feel is 35 degrees, extremely cold. There's also a nice drizzle outside. Now going down to tonight, it's going to cool down a little bit to about 35 degrees. It's going to feel like 30, so watch out if you're going out tonight. It's also it's expected to start raining heavily tonight. And that rain is going to extend into tomorrow, where it's going to feel like 35, and the actual weather is going to be 42 with a wind breeze of about 15 miles per hour. That's all I have for now. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Blake. Tonight, the Denton Police Department is continuing an investigation of a homicide that occurred on Saturday night. Police say the shooting happened on the 100th block of Dutchess Drive. When police arrived, they found one wounded victim and then received reports of a second gunshot victim from a local hospital. That person later died. No arrests have been made, and if you have any information relating to this shooting, contact the Denton Police Department at 940-349-8181. Now, issues of another kind of safety have some UNT students concerned. ntTV's Blaine Tatum has more from the union. Blaine?
That's right, Andrew. UNT has announced a new policy regarding sex offenders on campus housing. After public outcry on Twitter about a registered sex offender whose address was listed at one of the university's residence halls. While Texas law prohibits most sex offenders from living in campus housing, public universities have some discretion when it comes to allowing low-risk offenders to live on campus. The DPS has categorized sex offenders based on the risk they pose to the public. The university has released a statement saying that there is only one sex offender currently enrolled in UNT, but they do not live on campus. For more information, visit the DPS website. That's all I have for you tonight. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Blaine. Medical personnel's current biggest fear has come true in El Paso, Texas. All COVID-19 dedicated hospital beds have been filled. Because of the surge, the mayor has issued a mandated curfew. For the next 2 weeks, El Paso residents should be home from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Anyone caught without a mask in public will be fined $250. Being out after curfew can land you a $500 fine.
We've had significant spikes to the point that our hospital capacity is really tapped. We're probably at the end of our rope there.
Currently, the El Paso Performing Arts Center is being turned into a makeshift hospital, adding 100 beds to help with overflow. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has requested William Beaumont Army Medical Center to house non-coronavirus patients in El Paso.
When we come back, a look into the opt-out option of wearing masks at the Texas polls.
And how Denton has climbed the voting polls. More after these messages.
In a few states, wearing a mask is enforced at polling locations. However, Texas voters are able to opt out. ntTV's Laura Nunez takes a closer look at why Governor Greg Abbott chose to make masks at polling locations optional.
Masks at voting locations are highly encouraged, but they're not required. Governor Abbott says the exemption was put in place because he doesn't want people to feel discouraged to vote simply because they don't have a mask. But a few voters feel this decision has created an unsafe environment for the sake of politics.
Polling locations and polling workers that are supposed to strictly be nonpartisan locations, and yet they're being told that they don't have to wear masks, which is a partisan thing, and also, in my opinion, a huge risk to the health and welfare of the people who are going to vote.
Denton County has provided poll workers with masks, face shields, gloves, and hand sanitizer. However, there are still a few poll watchers who choose not to use them.
I think it's very disrespectful to the voters, whether or not it does, regardless of what party you're on. We know people, the virus doesn't discriminate against political party. You know, if you get exposed to this virus or you're a carrier, it doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how you vote. And I think it's very important that we need to be cognizant of that.
Herrera believes the president's attitude towards COVID-19 may have led to the voting mask exemption.
Governor Abbott and the entire Republican legislature in this county, or I'm sorry, in the state, sided with the president's decisions not to embrace science, not to truly understand the disease and its implications, and to dismiss the importance of wearing masks.
Reporting for ntTV News, I'm Laura Nunez.
But despite concerns about COVID-19 and today, the weather, people in Denton County are determined to vote. After 13 days of early voting, more than 53% of registered voters have cast their ballots either in person or by mail. This is a record turnout for early voting, and its reflection across the state. The extraordinary turnout has moved Texas from a low voter state to one that could influence the outcome of the general election. One voter in Houston called this the most important vote we'll ever have in our lifetime.
While being the largest demographic, millennials continue to have the lowest number of voter turnouts. However, to counter this, last Tuesday, Congresswoman Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez streamed the video game Among Us on Twitch with popular influencers. But Antonio Melinar, a UNT political science doctoral student, does not believe a Twitch live stream is enough to push young voters to go to the polls.
It's not so much just play video games with them, right, but get them involved in the campaign. And I think if you look at the Obama administration or the Obama campaign in 2008, that's really what they did. They had millennials essentially running a lot of the groundwork, knocking on doors and calling. They were like if not the organizational force, they were the brunt force that was actually out doing the work. And that's why so many millennials kind of turned out for Barack Obama.
Well, Alyssa, it took nearly 25 days, but the weather is finally starting to feel like Halloween.
That's right, Andrew, but the big question is whether or not these cold temperatures are here to stay. Our weather anchor, Blake Weiland, has more. Blake?
Thank you, but before we get to our weekly forecast, let's go to our local map of our weather. As you can see, it's very cold. As you can see in places such as Dallas, it's 47. Fort Worth is 43. Stephenville, 39. It's 42 in Denton, as I stated earlier. But enough about our local area. Let's get to the state map. And what's cool about here is you can actually see the divide between the cold front, what the cold front has hit, and what the cold front hasn't hit. If you look closely, you can see that Houston is 79 degrees. As opposed to, say, Amarillo's 20 degrees and Oklahoma City's 30 degrees. It's 33 degrees in Arlene, and Austin is 51 degrees. And now let's get to our weekly forecast. As you can see, there's going to be a lot of rain this week, such as on Tuesday, Wednesday, But for the rest of the week, you should be expecting some sunny skies. And also some more good news that it's going to warm up for the rest of the week. If you look at Saturday and Sunday, you're going to be looking at 65 and 63 respectively, up from the 43 on Tuesday. Sunny skies on Friday, Sunday, and Monday. That's all I have for now. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Blake. Well, as Blake just mentioned, that cold front is making it chilly for early voters. And with the record number of voters, some health experts wonder if there might be a correlation between those factors and a sudden spike of COVID-19 cases in Dallas County. ntTV's Asmar Khan has more in tonight's Your Health.
Thanks, Alyssa. I spoke with Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins about that question, and he is confident that voting is safe, but with important precautions. Last week, Dallas County reverted back to highest risk for COVID-19 as the cases started climbing. The Dallas County officials raised the county's coronavirus perceived risk level back to red after lowering it 6 weeks ago to orange. Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins blamed the surge on the increase in large public gatherings and conceded that they're out of options at this moment other than for the people to cooperate and maintain social distancing.
On a spike trajectory, and we don't have any tools in the toolbox to stop that other than people bearing down and renewing their resolve to keep themselves and their community safe.
Judge Jenkins also put some blame on the changing weather and said the drop in temperature might have contributed to the surge as well.
When the weather is inclement outside, people move inside, and the more we're around each other in an indoor environment, which has relatively poor ventilation compared to the outside.
Rajesh Nandi is an associate professor of biostatistics at the University of North Texas. He says as of now, it's too early to relate the surge in coronavirus cases with cooler temperatures.
With COVID-19, there is not enough scientific evidence yet to correlate the onset of the virus with season in terms of like cold weather.
Judge Jenkins said he will follow doctors' advice instead and keep the bars closed after Governor Greg Abbott ordered to reopen them at 50% capacity last week.
In a public health emergency, we must listen to the science. And you do that by listening to the medical experts who are specialists in the field of the outbreak.
Again, Judge Jenkins emphasized that heading out to vote is safe. Just remember to wear masks and follow social distancing guidelines. Back to you, Andrew.
Thank you, Asmar. Now, as COVID cases keep rising across the country, Costco is now featuring COVID tests as the newest item on their website. At only $129, customers have access to a self-administered test. The results will be available 24 to 72 hours after the lab receives them. Costco competitors have yet to offer a similar product to the public.
After the break, an update on the procedure for UNT's fall graduation.
And a look back at the festivities at the North Texas Fair and Rodeo. Much more to come. Stay with us.
Graduation and homecoming season is approaching, but it will be very different this year due to COVID. Hannah Gonzalez has more on the recent updates regarding these traditional events. Hannah?
Thanks, Alyssa. During the recent episode of UNT Prez Talks, Dr. Neil Smatras touched on the recent announcement of a COVID-safe graduation ceremony this December.
So the plan's subject to modification. At this time, because we're concerned about the length of the events and the kinds of weather that we're having, we were planning to do something called a mass conferral. Students would stand up, we would confer the degree, I would confer the degree, they would sit down. And then the individual recognition ceremonies that are being done virtually would call out their names. So that's the initial going-in plan. I will look, depending on how many people sign up to do this, because we don't know for sure yet. If the number is small enough, I would consider some kind of having them stand up and have their name read, stand up, sit down kind of a deal. I would consider it, but I don't know if it's practical if you have 2,000 people and each name takes 3 seconds. That actually adds up to a very, very long period of time.
This fall, graduates will only be recognized by name during the December 11th and 12th ceremonies. It will look similar to those held for the spring 2020 graduates. This new kind of graduation comes on the heels of the decision to cancel the homecoming bonfire in favor of a virtual homecoming. ntTV will keep you updated when any incoming information. Andrew, back to you.
Thank you, Hannah. Well, one tradition survived this fall, our 92nd annual North Texas Fair and Rodeo. On their last night, reporter Hannah Mitch and I took one last look at the festivities. Live country music, amusement rides, and funnel cakes are among the many attractions at the North Texas Fair and Rodeo.
But the heart of the Denton Fair lies here, in the arena.
In this year's Bull Blowout, 25 riders competed for a championship buckle and $2,000.
I've won about 3-4 buckles, so first place 3-4 times. I think it's after the 8 seconds is done, you get off and you know you did good and you hope for the best score you can. So.
A qualifying bull ride is 8 seconds long and scores between 0 to 100 points.
I won here 97, I think it was, 98, somewhere in there. The Bulls Night Out is a big, big deal. It sells out standing room only every year. So it'll be a packed house tonight.
As an attendee, Willie is here to watch his grandson compete against 6 junior champs.
Well, the reason that's exciting is because it's kind of challenging. Yeah. I like challenging stuff.
As for one of Evan's competitors,
I'm going to try to defend my world champion because I won it last year. And that's all I'm not worried about. Yes, sir.
In all, nearly 44,000 people attended the 9-day rodeo, bringing with it the Halloween cold front. Texas entertainment and family tradition meet as one within the Denton Fairgrounds.
And if you missed this year, check out ntfair.com for more information on 2021's livestock attractions. Every year, the 33-acre fairground is open from October 16th to the 24th. Employees are expecting an even bigger turnout in 2021.
You know, Andrew, this year's fair looks like a lot of fun. I can't wait to see those junior riders in the national championship. And Andrew, after visiting the fair, were you able to watch the Sunday Cowboy game?
Well, Alyssa, I watched the highlights and quite frankly, it didn't look good. But I know our sports anchor Jennifer Holberg has more on last night's losses, the ongoing World Series, and UNT's golf team. Jennifer?
Thanks, Andrew. I actually watched the game yesterday and it was bad. But when we come back, I'll have a World Series update and some good UNT golf news, though. More after the break. The Los Angeles Dodgers won a crucial Game 5 last night in the World Series. The Dodgers started fast by scoring 2 runs in the first inning, and with the help of Clayton Kershaw's solid pitching, they managed to keep the Rays at bay. Jock Peterson and Max Muncy both homered for the Dodgers in this win, with the Rays only scoring 2 runs in the third inning. Clayton Kershaw threw 6 strikeouts last night, making his career postseason a total 207, breaking the record Justin Verlander set last year. Game 6 of the World Series will be tomorrow night at 7. Sadly, the Dallas Cowboys failed again to win yesterday, losing to the Washington football team. The Cowboys' performance was lackluster, to say the least. With multiple mistakes by Ezekiel Elliott yet again and the offense seriously struggling, the Cowboys barely put up 3 points. Backup quarterback Andy Dalton left in the third quarter due to a helmet hit by linebacker John Bostic. Dalton was replaced by third-string rookie Ben DiNucci. Bostic was ejected from the game but is not expected to be suspended by the NFL. The Cowboys will travel to Philly and take on the Eagles this Sunday night. With some good UNT news this week, the Mean Green men's golf team is ranked 7th in the nation. This comes after finishing 6th in their only fall tournament, the Maridoe Collegiate Invitational, this past weekend. Head coach Brad Strachey says the team has worked diligently this fall and will have to continue to be committed in the offseason. The Mean Green do not compete again until February 15th in Houston at the All-American Collegiate. More on the golf team, the UNT men's golf team has faced some new faces this season, including a pair of freshmen hailing from Argentina. ntTV's Leighton Prater takes us through their path to UNT and how they're adjusting to life in the U.S.
For many incoming freshmen, college can be an incredibly scary time. Add in the COVID-19 pandemic and moving to a new country on top of that, and things can be very intimidating. That is the situation UNT men's golf players Diego Prone and Vicente Mazzillo are facing this fall as they experience life in the U.S. after growing up in Argentina.
But overall, it's been really good so far. We feel really comfortable to stay that way with the weather, with the persons, with the place that we practice in, and all of that. And so far, it's been really good. And of course, there are like a lot of new things to discover and learn, but we've enjoyed so far a lot. We're having fun, and it's really nice.
Fortunately for Diego and Vicente, they have been able to rely on each other as they both adjust to their new life, like they always have.
Yeah, knowing us before coming here is really helpful, because we came both from Argentina, both being freshmen, and we are like starting a new life here. We don't know almost no one here, so it's really helpful to be together and practice together, studying. It's something like special.
Both Diego and Vicente played in their first collegiate tournament this past week in the Maridoe Collegiate Invitational.
Wow, it is truly amazing to see how well these two young men have adjusted to such a strange year, especially for collegiate sports. That is all I have here for sports tonight, so back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Jennifer. Well, even in the middle of a pandemic, the Dallas Zoo is still trying to give guests that holiday feeling. The Dallas Zoo Lights are hosted annually. This year, to accommodate for social distancing, the zoo will let you enjoy the show in the comfort of your own car. Between November 20th and January 3rd, the zoo will host a drive-through winter wonderland featuring over 1 million lights. Guests can purchase an online ticket in advance to control traffic and minimize wait times. Tickets for the Dallas Zoo Lights will begin to go on sale for members with a $15 discount on Monday, November 2nd, and the remaining tickets go on sale Thursday, November 5th at $65 per vehicle.
I don't know if I can. This holiday season will be filled with joy, cheer, and chicken-scented homes. Yep, you heard me right. Fast food chain KFC is bringing back their signature scented chicken logs after selling out 2 years in a row. You can get your very own KFC's 11 herbs and spices fire logs at participating Walmart locations. If you plan on stocking up this holiday season, hurry up because they'll sell out fast.
Thanks for watching ntTV Nightly News.
Join us again tomorrow night at 6 here on North Texas Television.